Hello everybody and welcome to the second episode of Let's Learn Europa Universalis 4. I have joined the game as Burgundy now, and this episode will be talking about all of this and everything that all this does and all this and all this and all this. Now we're not going to go into too much detail because this video might be like 3 hours long, but we're just going to go into very vague detail of what everything on this screen is. And the best way to start this is to kind of explain this sort of area here. And basically, Europa Universalis is kind of real-time, but time is turn-based, in that a turn lasts a very short amount of time. Now, if you can see, if I play it on... Actually, so we have a troop here, 26 troops, and they are in Ghent. We also have, all these are provinces. The world is split up into small provinces. So if I tell my troops to go from Ghent to let's have a look. Vlaanderen, you can see starts moving, and I have the game paused right now. When I unpause the game, as I do now, you can see 11th of November, 12th of November, 13th, 14th, and basically every day in this game is a turn. And you see after those many days he's moved. Now the interesting thing is that most of the time you don't want to be playing on such a short, kind of slow time. You want it to be max, if you're just like waiting for things to happen, or you're not really that involved at the minute. And if you can see, if I play it at max, it unlocks and goes as fast as your CPU will go, essentially. So you can see I'm doing like a day, probably about 10 days a second there. You can see in that time, all these pop-ups have happened, lots of diplomacy has happened down here, of alliances happening, and that's the first thing to know about this game, is it's a turn-based game, but the turns are very short, so you play it like a real-time game, and then just pause when you need to do things. So, you know, you set up some movements, some things that are going to happen, you play, you wait until something else happens, you do a quick pause, you set everything up again, you click play, and that's how a lot of people like to play this game. Some people play it on maybe like speed 2 or 3, and play it as a real-time game and never pause. Which is, it gives you a little bit of difference how you want to play the game. But that's the first thing covered in that time and all this sort of stuff. The next thing to cover is kind of the top UI of your scores and your basic information about your country. You can see right here, this is a treasury. This is our overall budget. You can see we have 201 gold in the bank, and our previous monthly balance we gained 9.77 gold per month. So we're in the green right now. We've got money left over that's going to fill into our banks. Now if you look at the bottom of that, you can see where this money is coming from. So we're getting 10 from tax, 3 from production, 3.9, 5 from trade, our army is costing 8, and our fleet is costing 2. And that, you know, will give you a brief overview of what's really expensive if you're in the red, or what you need to spend your money on, just to give you an idea. The next one is manpower, and to give you a brief overview of this, this is how many men are in your army. Now, I have 26,000 men here. 26, right? You can see they're all infantry and cavalry. This doesn't mean these men are not part of this. I could make another 16 kind of units and put them on the ground, and that would take me to 732 manpower left over. But you always want a manpower reserve, because basically if I send these troops to fight and they lose a lot of men, they will reinforce from this pool. So if I lose 5,000 men, the unit isn't destroyed, but it will slowly regain from this. And that is what manpower is. Stability is how stable your country is, the higher the better. It goes from -3, which is very, very bad, to 3, which is everyone is happy. Prestige will go up and down a lot, but basically how prestigious you are, it affects a lot of things, such as the morale of your army, trade power, a lot of things. Legitimacy is how legitimate your king is. The less legitimate, the more people are likely to revolt and basically want to kick out your king. And power projection was added in, which one was it? One of the expansions, and basically showed you how powerful you are to your rivals. So if you do a lot of things like declare war on your rivals and send insults at them, then this will go up, and if it's above 50, you can see at the bottom there, you get an extra 1 to your free scores, which are here. The next thing here, it shows you how many merchants we have. We have 2, but we have 0 free. So we've sent our 2 merchants to do something. We have 2 diplomats left and 1 missionary. These aren't spent when you use them, they will come back after they've done something. If I send a diplomat to France, it will take him, you know, a couple days. If I send a diplomat to Japan, even though we haven't discovered it yet, it would take him months to get back. So that's kind of how that works. These are your pop-ups that tell you very important things that you are going to want to check out straight away. You can see here we have 2 few rivals. I can pick my rivals here. We have 3 advisor slots. See, these are our advisors. You can see that they will do something. So this one will reduce our national revolt list by 3, and it will also give us 1 administrative skill per month extra. Now, the more expensive they are, the more they will give you, the better things they will do. But that's the next thing to notice. This means a truce is going to expire soon. You can see the Hansa, which is this small place here, and there and there. That truce will expire on the 1st of July 1446. So, next year. Dispute succession tells you countries that don't have a legitimate heir to the throne. So you can go and be like, this is my throne when the ruler dies, and sometimes you'll get away with it and inherit a country. Usually it doesn't work, it's very complicated. The next is a mission. Missions are in the game to kind of give you a push if you want it. You don't have to do missions. You get very small bonuses from doing them. You can see here you get 5 naval tradition and 5 prestige for creating a bigger fleet, or improving relations will get you 3 prestige. It's very, very minute things, but they're there if you want. You know, if you're in a position where you don't really know what to do next, they are there. And I can hire a free military leader. You can see I have 0 out of 1. Your king does not count as a military leader, but our king is very good as a leader. So that's this. Then we have Burgundy. You know, these are our 3 scores and how much they increase by each month and why. So you can see if I hire a guy here, a new decision is available because I've hired him. But you see now that Barthout Harlem, he gives me an extra +1, so I'm up to +9 from +8. The very right hand side here will show you basically things that are happening. So it shows me, it's like a quick select option basically. It will let me quick select my armies and my navies. And also say if we're in a war or a province is being sieged by someone else, it'll let you select that. It'll show you what your diplomats are doing. It's a nice thing to check every now and then just to check what's happening in case you forget or something that needs your attention will be here. Next thing, this is the kind of important news. The best way to describe this is news. So you can see here France entered a military alliance with their new ally Hungary. And you'll get lots of these as the game progresses. And you can filter these messages about me, messages from interesting countries, messages from other countries. If I click this, these are the countries that I want news from. So you can see when you start the game, it picks countries that are near you or are very important to you. So as Burgundy, it will pick England and France because they're very strong and I'm bored with them. It will pick all my border kind of provinces, and there is something that's very important like Austria because it's powerful. And you can, you know, tick these on and off if you want news about a certain country, if you want to check on it. Next, this is the map, and our map modes, there are lots of them. I'm not going to go through these now. This will be a mini video in itself, because you kind of need prior knowledge of a lot of the game to understand a lot of it, but there are extra map modes. You're only really going to use the top 6 though. You might have to occasionally check these, but not very often. So they're best left out for now. At the very bottom we have the menu, options, message settings, I would say are quite important. This will change every like kind of pop-up you've seen or little message that appears here is in this list. So when you get a new monarch, you can pick selections from such as it will pop up on the screen and pause the game, just a pop-up, to just a little message down here, to displaying in the log down here, to not displayed on the map. So I can say, I want you to show me where on the map this is happening. And these are very, you know, you can mix and match these. The ones they give you at the very start are very, very good, apart from 1 or 2 changes. But that is nice if you want to customize that a bit more. Your ledger is basically your leaderboard. It will show you anything you want to see about every country. So let's have a look at relations, current wars that are going on. The 100 Years' War between England and all the French countries, and the Ottoman-Albanian War. And that will give you an idea. If, say, someone calls you to join a war and you don't know much about it, you can see who's involved here and how it's going. You can see -5 means England is losing my -5 points. It goes from 100 to -100. What else we got here? History will give you a brief overview of what has happened in each king's lifetime, and will kind of make you a history book of how you've played the game, which is quite interesting. Triggered modifiers. These are just things that will happen. They are not that important. And F, find province. If I get a mission to go colonize a province, I don't know what it's called, type it in here, Safi. It'll show me where exactly it is and zoom in on it. Safi is here. So that's also very, very cool. This is to do with the Holy Roman Empire, which I said I will go through at a very other time, and this is to do with the papacy, which is the Catholic Church, which I will go through at another time. Now we've done all that, we can move on to the basic kind of country view. Now if I click the shield here, this brings up all the different tabs to do with my country. So everything from government, which we've seen where I set my advisors. I can change from a monarchy to lots of other things here. It will show me accepted cultures and primary cultures in my country. It will show me what modifiers currently are happening. We have a last jousting tournament, so I get a bit of extra prestige. My king, how old my heir is, and if his claim is strong or not. In the latest expansion, you can pick to get rid of 1 point from the other two kind of sections and add it to another. So if I want to focus on military, I can click this, and these will go down by 1, this will go down by 2, go up by 2. And you can do this every so often. I'm not sure how much. That's it for administrative. Diplomacy shows me the diplomacy of everyone. I can click on a country. This is the diplomacy screen for that country. I can do lots of things here, like declare wars and fabricate claims and lots of nice stuff, which I'll go for another video. And this is our own diplomacy view, which tells us some details, such as... No, I'll do a small video for each one of these, probably. Economy, very self-explanatory, how much I'm going to spend on things. I can raise taxes at wartime, reduce inflation, take loans out, spend less on my fleets to make them less effective but cheaper, that sort of stuff. This is where everything comes from. Trade, again, gets a very long video on its own. Technology, probably going to get a video on its own, but this is the basic kind of text, and this is how close I am to improving them. Ideas, what we talked about before, so you can see when I get to National Ideas 4, which is Tech 4, I can unlock ideas. The more ideas I unlock, this bar will go up, unlocking new Burgundian ideas, which are country specific. Now we have missions and decisions. These will just be able to activate at certain times. If I go in the question mark, it'll tell me what I need to do, so I could form the Dutch nation. This is stability and expansion. This is mostly to do with both colonization and if I take over a new province of the country, making it accepted within my country and not part of another country that I own. And you can see stability is here and war exhaustion, things like that. Religion, video on its own. Military, video on its own, but this is the screen for changing units and all such and recruiting leaders. And this is vassals. So say if I vassalize Munster, it would appear here. And vassal nations are nations that you own, but are still their own freestanding nations. So that's everything for kind of this is everything to do with your country, basically. Then we have construction on production, which is I can recruit military units here, place them down on mercenaries. I can build ships. I can build buildings. I can make cores, which is to do with... I'll do through it in another video. Missionaries to change the religion of areas. Harsh treatment to stop revolts by force. Changing the culture of areas to be one of my accepted cultures. You can see Dutch is not an accepted culture, meaning I get less tax from it, it's more likely to revolt. Simple stuff like that. And that's everything to do with production and making things. And that just about covers the main sort of areas on the main UI that you need to look at. Now, this video won't be too helpful, but I kind of need it for setup to explain now the various aspects of everything. I've gone through everything in a very, very, very brief way, but now at least, you know, if I say today we're going to be talking about military, you can go, oh, military's here. Or, you know, if I refer to something, you kind of have a slight idea of what it is at least. And that was kind of the purpose of today's video, was just to give a brief overview of where everything on the game is, and a brief overview of what everything is. So, thank you for watching, and in the next video, we are going to talk about something else, which I will decide at another point. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.